turns 360 degrees. Understand the cycle that never ends.
Evolution.
The beginning to be the end. Nothing in between. But space and time that I make revolution to relate.
It's yours truly, Choice Love, with your boy Late Boom, and we're here at the King's Cross British Library. We got an interview lined up for you guys with the Last Poets. If you don't know who they are, you will soon. They were featured on one of Common's best albums, and we're gonna get into that when we get into this library, but stay tuned.
We're the Last Poets, and we're here with Culture 73.
Alright, I wanna know, first, let's get into the name.
All right. The name was derived from a series of poems, but the main poem that actually gave us our name was written by a South African named Keorapetse Kgositsile.
Who we met like 9 years ago.
Yeah, and nobody could say his, well, I had met him before because he lived in New York City with his wife and his beautiful daughter. But the fact is that nobody could say his first name, which is Keorapetse. So people couldn't get that together, so they called him Little Willie. And he was a little guy, about maybe 5'1", if that. But he was a big spirit, a great poet. There's a book called Black Fire, and you can get it. It's online. I mean, if you type in on your gadget, you can probably find it. And on page 237, I believe, it's 237 or 236, there's a poem entitled Towards a Walk in the Sun. And it's a poem that he wrote about how horrible it was to live under conditions of apartheid. And then at the end you can see his anger building. His anger he gets so outraged till he changes the font from regular to like bold. And says, this wind you hear is the birth of memory. When the moment hatches in time's womb, there will be no art talk. The only poem you will hear will be the spear point pivoted into the punctured marrow of the villa, and the timeless native sun dancing like crazy to retrieve rhythms of desire fading into memory. And David Nelson, one of the person I call the father of the group, added, therefore we are the last poets of the world. So in other words, our statement was saying, get your shit together now or take it out.
That's heavy.
That's the Last Poets. We're not gonna shoot you with a gun or with some bullets. So we're gonna use our words as the bullets and our mouths as the gun.
I like it.
But that's just another example of who we are and why we refer to ourselves as the Last Poets.
Sometimes when you hear something real, it gives you the chills. I call it the chill factor. And if you get the chills, you know it's authentic, you know? And that hit me with the chill. So that's all right. How many people comprise the Last Poets? I see
the group
three.
Started out with 4 people primarily.
Okay.
3 poets and a conga player. We had tried to use, there was a guitar player who wanted to play with us named Les Chandler, I think his name was. Anyway, that didn't work out. We tried different conga players until we went through a few guys until we found the right conga player who knew the language of the drum. Because see,
Percussionist.
you see, conga players, you got a lot of people that beat on the drum and they think that they know what they're doing, and they can make a rhythm or something, but they don't know the language.
Yeah.
That conga drum happens to be a language transmitter. It gives you information. Matter of fact, the drum was our first communication device in Africa. Now the conga drum is not really African, that's Cuban. But there was a drum, something like that in the Congo. And obviously, our brothers and sisters in Cuba, and most of them had come from Africa, they recreated a drum and they called it the conga. But the
Conga, but Congo.
yeah, right. And so what happened is we had the 3 voices, and the conga was the only instrumentation that we had with us.
Okay.
And we wanted to keep it raw like that because we wanted to accent what we were saying. And the conga player that we had then, he knew just how to accent. If you go back and listen to any of our older albums, our old stuff, you'll never find the same rhythm behind any of the poems. Every single poem has its own rhythm. In other words, he gave each poem its space rhythmically and its personality rhythmically. And the other thing is that if you came up to the stage, you tried to put a poem into the group, and if he didn't pull out, because he kept his company in a duffel bag, if he didn't open up that duffel bag and start playing when you were trying to do your poem, you might as well throw that shit in the garbage. Because he was about feelings, and if he couldn't feel you, he couldn't play. With the people, if there was a block party going on, we just would go and perform.
Yeah.
The intellectual poets didn't do shit like that.
Yeah. The relationship.
Yeah,
And
relationship.
we establish a clear relationship with the basic people, and that was a beautiful thing about the last poets. We never took poetry to that level. See, people don't realize before us, poetry was considered to be kind of snooty. Mm-hmm. You know, you went to a poetry reading, you were very quiet, you sipped tea and you ate crumpets, and you talked in whispers. You didn't get too loud. We put brass knuckles on poetry and punch you in the fucking mouth.